Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to this ON1 live webinar. My name is Dylan. I'm one of the software and video educators here at ON1. I'm joined by our VP of Product and overall photography mastermind, Mr. Dan Harlacher.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Today, we have a very special presentation. We're unveiling our latest ON1 product that the ON1 team has been developing for as long as many of us can remember. So we're extremely excited for you guys to get your hands on it and start using it, start getting the benefits from all of the awesome features inside of it. Before we get started, though, we are recording this webinar, so if you need to miss out on anything, no worries. We'll be posting it to our blog and on social media later today. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, we have a comment section where you can ask questions. We'll have people in there just kind of moderating the questions. If you're watching in Zoom, feel free to hit up the Q&A dialogue and ask any questions you want, and we'll get to those throughout the webinar. With that being said, I'll let Dan take it away.
And as Dylan mentioned, this really is something we've been dreaming about for about 5 years now. Really back when we came out with the very first version of Photo Raw, when we built our own RAW engine, building a mobile ecosystem was actually part of those plans. We built it in such a way that we would be able to migrate it to other platforms very easily. So ON1 360 is really the culmination of that, and it's an entire ecosystem that allows you to view and capture and edit your photos on any of your devices with lots of freedom. When we think about ON1 360, it's kind of like a tripod. There's 3 parts that make it up. So the first one is ON1 Photo Raw. And if you're here today, you probably know what Photo Raw is. Photo Raw is our professional grade digital asset management, raw processor, effects machine, all in a layered non-destructive workflow. Most of you guys have probably already seen it, or a lot of you guys probably already have it. That's one part of it. The next part is the brand new ON1 Photo Mobile app. With Photo Mobile, you've got a great professional camera in the palm of your hand at any time. It enables the cameras that are on your iPhone or your Android device to shoot in RAW. Plus, it gives you tons of manual control. And it also gives you the same raw processing engine that you see on the desktop. So all of the edits that you create on your phone are with the same quality, same fidelity, and the same settings you're going to see on the desktop. And then marrying those two together, the third leg of that tripod, if you will, is the ON1 360 service. 360 is a cloud service that allows you to view and edit those photos across all of your devices. It's kind of the glue that puts everything together. Now, when we built this, we kind of had 3 goals in mind. The first goal, the obvious one, was to enable you to view and edit your photos from anywhere. The second goal that was really important to us was that all of your original photos didn't have to be stored in the cloud. Cloud storage is expensive. You know, if you had, and we know that our users shoot hundreds of thousands of photos, if you had to put all of those originals in the cloud, it would get very expensive very quickly. So we wanted to let you only put the stuff in the cloud that you wanted. And that really comes down to the third, and what to me is probably the most important design goal for this product, and that is choice. It's all about choice. So first off, you choose the photos that you want to publish. It's not every single photo that you want in your catalog. Not everything has to go to the cloud. The second big thing about choice is that you get to organize it the way you want to organize it. So rather than having it all go into one big pool and having to use search to find your photos, however you organize it already is the same way that you'll explore your photos in ON1 360. So if you're like me, you keep your photos on an external hard drive attached to one computer and you organize everything in folders, that's great. You can still see that same computer, see that drive, and see those folders and explore them the way that you like. If you're an album person, great. You can publish albums and view your albums the same way. The other thing that you get to control is whether you want to publish the original photo or if you want to use what we call an editable preview. The editable preview is way smaller, takes up much less space, still has the same color and the same tonal fidelity. Think of it like a compressed raw version of your photo. You can fit about 5 times as many of those photos in the same amount of space. So it ends up saving you money, but gives you all the same capabilities. Now let's talk a little bit about how you get ON1 360. There's a couple different ways to do it, and a lot of that is going to depend on if you have ON1 Photo Raw already or not. So if you're someone who already has ON1 Photo Raw 2020, you're probably going to be interested in the purple section at the top. This is using ON1 360 as an add-on service to it. So this will allow you to take your existing Photo Raw. You can download Photo Mobile for free right now. It's in the App Store and in Google Play. And then using either the 200 gigabyte plan or the 1 terabyte plan, you can then share those photos. If you're someone who doesn't have Photo Raw or has an older version of it, then the bottom option is great for you. That lets you bundle a subscription to ON1 360 and Photo Raw together. And that way you get everything all in a single, simple, automatic billing process. Now to get started, that's obviously the first thing you need to do. You need to buy ON1 360. So go to the website, lots of information on how to do that. The second step is you need to download the latest ON1 Photo Raw 2020.5. That also comes out today as well. And if you just use your auto update, if you have 2020 already installed, it will download that update for you. and you'll be ready to go. And then the third step is to download the mobile app. So you can go to the Apple App Store or to Google Play, and you can download the mobile app. I'm going to show you a couple ways to make that simple right inside of the app. So let me jump over here inside of ON1 Photo Raw 2020.5. Now, getting started is super simple. All you got to do is just sign into the app. Most of you are already signed in. If you're already signed in, it's going to ask you to sign in one new time when you install 2020.5, just so that we can authenticate and make sure it's actually you. Once you're signed in, it'll know if you have ON1 360, and you can start to publish at any time. Let me show you a couple tricks here. Over here on the left-hand side, you'll see a new little badge. That's the ON1 360 progress indicator. And when I click on that, it's going to tell me how much of my storage space I've used. It's going to tell us what it's doing. Right now, it's syncing and up to date. And then down here at the bottom, there's two little buttons that are going to help you get the mobile app. So if I wanted to download the iOS app, I simply click on Get the iOS app. And it's going to pop out a little QR code. I can just scan that with my phone, and it'll take me right to the App Store so I can download the app. All right, now let's talk a little bit about, oops, it's taking me there already. Let's talk a little bit about the actual publishing process. Publishing is the term we use when you want to take something in your collection and make it available to all your other 360 devices. And we do that two different ways. You can publish an album, or you can publish a catalog folder. Now, most of us use both of those organizational ways. It's super easy to do. So if I wanted to publish an album, I simply right-click on an album, and from the pop-up menu, there's an option that says Publish to ON1 360. This one's already published, so it has the option that says Unpublished, but it'd be the same thing. I just click Publish. That's it. That's all you got to do. It does all the rest for you. And after a couple of seconds, you're going to see that album on your other mobile devices or even on your other computers. If you want to publish a catalog folder, it works the same way. You just right-click on a catalog folder and select Publish. So if I want to appear to my personal photos and I right-click, I would just select the Publish option. There's another option you also notice next to it called Sync Options. This lets me control whether I'm publishing the editable previews or if I want to publish my original photos. Now, there's always going to be the editable preview. That's what enables all the other devices to see and edit that photo. But I can also put my original photos up there too, giving me access to the original from any other device. So if I needed to download the full original file, I can do that. Now, the cool thing is you can actually do that on an album by album and even on a folder by folder basis. So within a large catalog folder tree, you can publish and unpublish individual folders, and you can pick whether you want the originals or the previews. So again, it's all about control. We're giving you all the control you want. You get to publish exactly what you want. All right, I'm going to pause here for a second. Dylan, we got any questions from folks?
We do have a few questions, yeah.
I figured we would.
So let's start with the first one. So someone's asking, I have photos on my laptop that I have sent to ON1 360. I have ON1 360 on my desktop. Can I then transfer to the cloud files that I've sent up down to my big hard drive on my desktop?
Sure, yes. We'll actually show you how to do that here a little bit later, but it's super simple. It's all drag and drop. So if you have photos that appear on another device and I want to put it onto the device that I'm on, the actual original files, it's just a matter of dragging and dropping them wherever I want them to live on that device. That's the same way it works for your phones. For example, whenever you take a picture with your phone, it's going to upload that original file to ON1 360. It's going to appear on all of my devices. And if I want to download it from my phone or from ON1 360 to that local device, I just drag and drop it where I want it to go.
Perfect. And then another question here about the mobile app. Do you need ON1 360 to get the mobile app?
No, anybody can use the mobile app. It's a great professional grade camera, shoots RAW. If you want to be able to have your photos automatically go back to your computer, or if you want to see photos on your computer on your phone, then you need 360, of course.
But it is a free app for iOS and Android. You can download it right now from the App Store or Google Play. And then another question from Jerry asking, if I publish previews, do they update my originals as I make changes?
Yes. Yep. So whenever you use that previews option, what it's really publishing is that that compressed RAW, that editable RAW version, plus all of the non-destructive settings. So whenever you make a settings change or a metadata change, the original photo doesn't have to change, or that editable preview doesn't have to change, because it's kind of like a RAW photo in the first place. So all that gets applied are just the setting changes, and it updates live on the device that you're working on.
So we'll do one last question.
Sure, one more and then we'll move on.
So where was it at? If I upload photos to 360 from my iPad, so you've captured on a mobile device, will it automatically upload the full RAW files of those photographs?
It will. So if you import photos on your iPad, or you shoot pictures with the camera on the iPad, not too many people do that, You can then take those photos. They're going to automatically get uploaded to 360. And then from any of your other computers, you'll see that and you'll be able to download those. That's actually what I do in the field. I think it's a great workflow now. I've got the little dongle that plugs into the bottom of my iPad. I can shoot on my 5D Mark IV, take the memory card out, plug it into my iPad. I can view the photos. I can download all of them or just some that I like. So maybe I want to get everything from that day's shoot, or just in the morning, I'm going to lunch. I want to play with it at lunchtime. I can go through, I can do my culling, I can do some rating, I can do some basic edits. All of that stuff is going to appear back when I get back to my studio. And to download them, I just simply select them and drag them to my hard drive, and it's going to copy those original files with all their settings and all their metadata from ON1 360 to my computer.
And you'll also see in your iPad or from your desktop, from the iPad, it'll say OG, and that just means the original version is uploaded that you can download.
Yeah.
One last question here. Just we're saying raw files a lot, and a lot of people are asking about JPEGs. Yes, JPEGs are syncable and publishable as well. We just say raw files so that people know that the originals, whatever original file you're shooting, you have access to it. But JPEGs and all other file types are supported as well.
Any of the file formats that we support on the desktop are supported on mobile as well. So raw from like 800 different cameras, PSD, TIFF, JPEG, PNG, Hike. It's probably one I'm forgetting. I can't think of right now, but they're all supported. So let's actually show you how you can view photos from another device on your computer. So here inside of Browse, you'll notice there's a new section right here that says ON1 360. And inside of it, you're going to see all of your other devices that are on your account. So for mine, because I do a lot of testing, I've got a couple more than most. I've got my Android phone, I've got my home computer, and I've got my iPad and my phone. If I wanted to go find a photo on my home computer and edit it, I can do that. So I'm just going to go over here to my home computer. I can roll it down. I can see whatever I've shared. I've shared my catalog folder called personal photos. I roll that down. You can see how I organize my stuff. I kind of organize it by subject matter. There's this still life that I was working on, kind of a food shot that I was working on at home, and I've decided, you know, I want to change it a little bit. I didn't really like the vintage or the look that I put on it. So I'm going to come down here. Let's go find that photo that happened to be in my food fun. Here we go. And it was this egg shot. We'll go into the egg folder. There's the shot that I was interested in. You'll notice this is a raw file. This is on my computer at home, 20 some odd miles away. I can click, I can go in and I can edit that photo. And the cool part is I have all of the same settings on it that I had, and they're all live. And view the adjustments that I made in the tone and color pane. I can look at the effects that I've applied to it and all of the settings. What I want to do is I wanted to change the effects. I think this was a little more yellow than I wanted. I want a little more cool look. So I'm just going to reset effects here. And I'm going to grab a different one. There we go. Nice. Ooh, I like that one.
Yeah, that looks nice.
I'm going to use the slider. I can tone that back a little bit. There we go. And now that change that I made, that non-destructive editing change, is going to now be synchronized back to my desktop computer where this photo lives and on any other device. So if I was to look at it on my iPad, for example, I would see that exact same edit that I did here, there. All right, so let's move on. I'm going to show you guys a little bit about the mobile app and what you can do with that. We're going to be working on an iPad today, but it also works on iPhones and Android phones and tablets as well. So I'm going to hand it over to Dylan here.
All right, guys. So in the mobile app here, we still have the same professional editing controls, same organizational controls as we're using in Photo Raw, plus some filters that we can use to stylize our shot. So I have a question about the accessing the same file type. So if you have the same file uploaded on ON1 360, are you going to be accessing a different version of that file from different areas or different devices that you're using? Or is it the same file from each device that you're accessing on ON1 360?
I said one more time, I didn't quite follow.
So if you're, say you upload the original files to ON1 360, are you accessing different versions of that file from different devices, or is it the same file on each device?
So when you upload that original photo, the original photo is kind of put up there in safekeeping, if you will. And the only time the original is actually used is when you want to then download that original. That editable preview is like a compressed raw version that sits up there. That doesn't change either. All that's really happening is we're passing the non-destructive settings, like a sidecar, think of it that way, between them. So no matter which computer you're on, you're seeing the same editable preview that is not adjusted with the correct settings applied to it to make it look the same on all devices. I hope that answered the question.
That's perfect, yeah. Okay. And then we have another question about RAW and JPEG files. So if you're shooting both RAW and JPEG in camera, in Photo Raw, you have an option to only publish the raw files of that, rather than publishing both versions. You can, however, publish both versions, but to keep track of just those double versions, you could basically just publish only the raw versions.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, well, I think we can jump back into mobile.
Let's jump back and let's actually show you a little bit of
editing,
browsing and editing on there.
Alrighty. So inside of the mobile app here, I'm in my local photos, and these are just photos that I've either imported or captured with this mobile device. So what I can do here with this screen is I can actually kind of scroll and pinch and drag to make my previews either larger or smaller. And I can just scroll through here and find these photographs. Let's say I want to modify one of these images. I'm just going to tap on this Palouse image here. Well, what I can do from this film strip view mode is I can drag over to different images within my photo library, or I can find the image that I want. I could just tap this editing button here. And now I can start applying changes to this photograph. Now, in ON1 Photo Mobile, we have some of the same similar raw processing controls that we can use to create styles for our photographs. I'm just going to go in here and I'm just going to raise up the exposure just a hair and add in a little bit of contrast. And then I'm going to head down to my effects here, and I'll just add a quick black and white. And let's pull back on our blues a little bit to darken up that sky. How does that look, Dan?
I like it. That's
pretty good.
Maybe add a little structure. I always love
that a little structure. Okay, so let's go back to our tone. We'll add in a little bit of structure for that nice crispy black and white.
Yeah, how about a vignette?
There we go. Let's do that. So we'll go into effects, one last filter, tap a vignette, and let's make it a little darker. Ooh, nice. With some mood there.
There we go.
Cool. So then we'll go back. I'll tap this arrow. This will take me back, and that's basically saving those edits.
Yep.
So then these edits are going to be synced across all of my computers and devices so that I can modify them from anywhere at any time.
Yeah, exactly. And if you wanted to share that photo.
Yeah, so if you wanted to share this photograph.
It's easy to share. You can share singles or multiple photos. You just tap on the share button.
So if you wanted to share multiple, you could just go back into the grid view mode, and then I could select. And now I could grab as many photos as I wanted. And then I just tap on this share icon here. Boom. And I can either save it to my camera roll, or I can tap share to, where it will save those files, and then I can publish them to my favorite apps or social media or wherever I want to do with those right there.
Yep. Now, we're showing you kind of the basics of the mobile app, but you can also import photos from your camera roll. You can also import from other devices. So anything that will show up within the Files app on your individual device, you can import photos from. So for example, those top photos on there were actually on an external hard drive. I plugged it in and I just imported them from a hard drive directly into the app. You can also create your own albums in View Albums. Why don't we show them what the albums view looks like?
So if we head over to our albums here, we can see all of the albums that we have synced up to ON1 360. We can also go in here to our 360 tab, and we can view all of the devices that we have synced up to ON1 360. So Dano was talking about his home computer with his personal photos on here, and he was showing us those still lifes, and we can go in there and view those food photos. Where's your food? Oh, food fun. And I can view his egg shot.
The eggs.
And we can see that it took that edit and it synced it across all of our devices. So we can see that egg shot that he just modified right here on ON1 Photo Mobile.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And actually, you remember that picture of that grain elevator that we just made black and white? I'm just going to switch back over to the desktop, and you'll actually see here. There it is. There it is. The same photo that Dylan just edited right here inside of Photo Raw with the same setting. So if, for example, I go to Effects, you'll see there's the black and white, and there's the vignette that he added with all of the adjustments that he made in the same settings. So it's very powerful. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll do a couple questions and we'll wrap up.
Alrighty. So right here. So probably a huge question, Dano, is what all do I need to benefit from ON1 360?
So in order to really take advantage of 360, obviously you need to have 360. You need to have a computer or two that you can run Photo Raw 2020.5 on. Now there's a lot of different scenarios. We'll kind of cover some of the different ways you could use this. Right now we've kind of focused on it as a technology. I really want to drive home the benefits that it has to your actual workflow. And we'll do that towards the end. But because you can actually view and edit across multiple computers, not just between one computer and mobile devices, it really opens up a whole new world of editing. I could have a desktop computer with a NAS, for example, that has all my photos on it at home, but I can still access them and edit them from my laptop anywhere I'm at, anywhere I've got an internet connection. It's very powerful for that. I can even do it on an airplane, for example. Then having the mobile devices is super handy as well. For me, the phone is indispensable. I use the camera on the phone every day. You know, it's just wild art. You're walking around, you just see a pint of beer. We all take a picture of the beer pint, and to be able to capture that, to edit it with the tools that I love and familiar with, and then be able to get it back to my computer
instantly.
That kind of finishes the circle. You know, so many of us have these silos in our photography where everything we shoot on our phone is one silo, and they never get back to our computer, to our real photos. But the phones today are so good that we actually care about those photos now. Those photos are just as important to us as the photos we shoot on our big camera. So why not treat them the exact same way?
Totally. Another question here. So will the plans have sufficient storage for me if I have thousands and thousands of photos?
Yes, definitely. And a lot of that also comes down to if you use that editable preview option.
You can
That's
even
definitely
have more
a way
storage.
to do it. Yeah, so with the 200 gigabyte plan, that's kind of the small plan. That's the one I think is important for most users. You can put about 35,000 editable previews into that system.
That's a ton.
For most of us, that's kind of all the photos
Overkill.
we have.
Yeah, that's a lot of photographs.
Yeah. But if you have more, there's a terabyte plan, and if you have even more than that, you can add on terabytes on top of the terabyte plan too. So it's very flexible. You can make it as big as it needs to be.
Okay, so last question, or another question here. So if I only use my mobile device, can I use ON1 Photo Mobile and ON1 360?
If you only use your mobile device, you can. So you could actually do an iPhone and an iPad, for example, and you could actually synchronize those two devices without using a desktop computer at all. So, sure.
Sweet.
All right. Let's jump back over here and see if we have any other questions that we can answer for folks. So ON1 360 is different because of those three main goals that I mentioned to you. More control. So it gives you the ability to control where your photos are stored, how you want them organized, and you only pick the ones that you want to publish. It also gives you more choice. And those choices come down a lot to the editing capabilities that you see in something like ON1 Photo RAW. It goes way beyond the cookie cutter presets that you get with other RAW processors. You've got a very powerful engine that goes beyond RAW processing with all of the flexible effects, all of the portrait retouching capabilities, all in a layered non-destructive workflow. So you're still keeping that full non-destructive workflow through layers, through all the advanced things you can do, way more than you would do with other RAW processors. And of course, it's going to save you a lot of space. Using those editable previews means you can publish far more photos in a smaller amount of storage. That means less storage. That means less money that you have to spend. All right, so here's just a few examples of the ways that you can use it. So like I mentioned, it gives you a powerful camera with you all the time. You know, the app that's built into the phone is pretty cool, but being able to shoot RAW, being able to have the full RAW processing, editing, and being able to get back to our computer is pretty awesome. It's also a great way to take your portfolio with you. That's what I do with my albums. I just create albums for different topics, and I just publish those albums, and that's my portfolio. So if I want to show some of my landscape pictures, they're right there in my pocket at any time. If I want to show them a recent wedding, same thing, very simple to do. It also kind of unlocks you from your desktop computer. A lot of us, you know, you go, you do a shoot, you have to put it on your computer, and you spend hours going through doing that culling. Inside, at a computer. Wouldn't it be great if you could download those photos, or those photos are already there because you download them on another device, and be able to sit at a coffee shop or lay in your hammock with your iPad and go through and do your culling. The culling is super easy on the iPad. You can literally get a nice full screen view. You swipe through the photos. If you swipe up on the left-hand side, you're changing the star rating. If you swipe up on the right-hand side, you're changing the hearts or the rejects. So it's very simple. You just kind of swipe left or right and then up or down, and you can do your culling. It's really fast, very natural way to do your culling, and you can do it anywhere. Obviously, I already mentioned that when you shoot pictures with your mobile device, they're going to appear back on your desktop. That's super handy. And it also enables you to work on your photos from anywhere. So just like I did, my computer at home houses all those photos, but I can still edit them from here. If I need to edit from the road, I need to edit from work or something like that, I have that capability. And it really opens up the whole world if you happen to work with more than one person. If you're in a studio where you have an assistant or other photographers, it allows anybody to be able to view and edit and work on those photos.
Totally.
All right, so I think now is probably, well, we'll do one more thing here first. So the mobile app that you guys are going to be downloading today is kind of a 1.0. It's super powerful. You can do a lot of stuff with it. Still has a great camera, gives you the raw processing basics, gets all of your photos back to your computer, but we're not done yet. That's just the very beginning of what you're going to see with the mobile app. We're going to continue to innovate and add new features to it at a very fast rate. So by the fall, with our fall release, you're going to get spot retouching for free on mobile. You're also going to get local adjustments. So you can paint with your finger or use a gradient to lighten or darken or change colors, all the things you do with local adjustments on the desktop. We're going to continue to add more filters. You know, there's 5 or 6 filters in there now. We're going to continue to add to all the filters you see on the desktop are available on the mobile app as well. So by fall, you're going to get the super popular dynamic contrast filter, HDR look, glow, and curves. And with those, that gives us the ability to create very powerful presets. So we're going to ship with a bunch of great looking presets. So in one click, you can add a look, use the fade slider to control how strong that look is, and get a great head start on your processing. We'll also add search and sort to the mobile device, so it's easier to find your photos once you've published them. All right, So now I think it's a great time to answer some questions.
We do have a lot of questions. So
Okay.
one common question that people seem to be asking is more so, how many devices can they have in the ON1 360, which I don't think there's really a limit.
Well, there kind of is. So on the desktop side, you're licensed to
for the
5
license.
computers.
Okay,
Yeah, so you can have 5 computers and you can have 5 mobile devices. So a total of 10 devices. That's a lot, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know anybody who has that many things.
So because people are asking, like, I have a MacBook Pro, then a MacBook Air, and then, you know, they have 2 different laptops plus a desktop and then their iPad. So yeah, so you could definitely, I mean, 10 devices is a lot of devices.
That's a lot of devices.
We have a question about training videos coming in the future. So there's definitely going to be just as many training videos as we always put out for this. So be on the lookout for many more training videos. And then we have another question about...
But part of the beauty is it's pretty simple. There's not that much to it. If you're already used to editing in Photo Raw, it works exactly the same way. If you can create an album or a catalog folder, you just right-click and publish it, and it just magically appears everywhere else. You browse to it and edit it just the same way. So it's not that hard. So
question, I edit on 2 different PCs. Some are saved on one and some are saved on a different PC. Do you have to have one master storage?
So for every photo, there's kind of one, that photo that you publish is the master of it. So if you have 2 different photos on 2 different, or the same photo on 2 different computers, those are 2 different photos at that point.
Okay.
So whichever one is publishing the photo kind of is the one that owns that photo, and any edits from other devices will sync back to that one.
So whatever one is published and synced across the devices.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The cool thing about this is you don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to have the same photo on multiple devices anymore. You don't have to take up that extra storage.
So we have another question about importing photos onto mobile devices. With mobile devices, there's tons of mobile devices out there, and some actually you can plug your SD card directly into your mobile device. But with Photo Mobile, basically you open up Photo Mobile and you choose import, and then you find that device, and it's just like importing into Photo Raw or whatever photo application you're used to. You just import those photos in, they live on that device, and then you can modify and organize them within Photo Mobile.
Yeah. So in terms of external devices you can attach to it, you can do card readers, cameras themselves, you can do hard drives. That all kind of depends on, especially with the Apple devices, which adapter you have and plugging it in, and certain devices draw a little bit more power than others and might not show up. Basically, if it shows up in the Apple Photos app or shows up in the Apple Files app, we'll be able to see it and work on it as well. We've tested it with both the iPad Pros that use the newer USB-C connection, which is great. It's very stable, very fast. And then there's the older Lightning connector. For that one, you typically want to plug the charger into that adapter as well to give it extra power so that it can connect. And then it's kind of a 50-50 as to whether your device will work. We have hard drives that show up and card readers that don't. And it's just kind of the way it works.
Mobile devices, yeah. So when you upload the originals to ON1 360 and you download the original to another computer, is the home for that photo now on the new computer?
That's a great question. So it is not. So when you move it, you're copying it. You're making an additional copy of it on that computer so that you can access it locally. We're not actually going to move it from computer A to computer B. If that's something that's important to you, definitely tell us in the feedback, and that's something we can consider for the future as well. Right now, our goal is to keep everything as safe and secure as possible. We don't want people to accidentally make mistakes and lose any photos.
Awesome. Well, we have a couple questions of the mobile app, so I'm just going to show some organizing in the mobile app real quick.
Yeah. Switch over so you guys can take a peek at it here.
All right, so we'll just go to our local photos again. And let's say we're just browsing through these shots here. If you want to organize an image, say you want to rate it like a 5-star, you just tap on the left side and then just drag up. So then that makes it a 5-star photograph. And then you could also either grab a heart or a dislike. So this is a great photo, so we'll just like that shot. And then we have this photo here. Let's say we don't like it as much. We could just on the right side, tap, and then just drag down. We'll dislike it, and then we could maybe rate this one a 3 or 4 stars. So you just keep doing that all the way through, and all you have to do is just swipe, and you can just keep doing that for each of your photographs. And then any of those changes that you make on Photo Mobile will be then synced to all of your devices and computers, whatever you have published to ON1 360.
Yeah. And you can see just how fast that little film clip is. It's amazingly quick to zip through your photos.
Sweet. Well, you want to jump back and there we go.
Cool. All right. Any questions out there?
There's so many questions here. So still more questions about the compressed version. I think people are a little confused on that. So when it's a compressed version, what file type are they modifying with that compressed version? Is there a certain file type that they're modifying, or is it just?
That editable preview is a proprietary file type that we create and we store in our servers. It's one that you don't actually see on your device or have direct ability to move that file. It's a special file that we created just for ON1 360.
Another question about the file types. Do you have full editing capability with the compressed RAW file? Let's say you download the original version from a mobile device, can you add, all the same effects and filters like you would inside Photo Raw with that version?
Yeah.
There's no difference in editing capability?
Yes to both, really.
Okay.
So if you have the editable preview, you have all the exact same editing capabilities, anything that you can do that's non-destructive, so anything you do in develop, anything that you do in effects. If the original photo was a layered on photo already, you'll be able to see those layers and you'll be able to edit the settings for each of those layers. If you need to do something that is going to modify the original file, for example, you want to add another layer or delete a layer, those will then create a new local copy for you, because that's actually changing the file. It's no longer non-destructive when you start to do something like that. If you have the original photo, so if you download the original to your device, it's the full original photo. You can do whatever you want to it with any of the options.
We have a few questions about people asking about, do they need to have their second home computer turned on to have it synced up? Which I think is, once it turns on, then it will start syncing the files.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So the kind of the point of truth for all the settings and all the data is actually the ON1 360 servers in the cloud, and they're always on. So your computer at home doesn't have to be on to be able to see those photos. Once they're published to 360, you can access them from anywhere, even if that computer at home isn't on.
Question about ON1 360. Using ON1 360, can I use ON1 360 with different photo programs?
So you can use ON1 360 with other photo programs. The key is the photo is going to go out to another application, be modified, and come back. It's now a new photo, unless it happened to be a JPEG you started with and you decided to overwrite your original JPEG. That change will be noticed, and the information in ON1 360 would be updated. So, and that would happen the same if it was done on a mobile, another app on your mobile device, or another desktop app on your desktop computer. I wanted to thank everybody for joining us today, and I really wanted to thank our development team, everybody at ON1 who's been working so hard to bring this product to you guys. There's been a lot of weekends and a lot of late nights, a lot of hard work to bring this system to you guys in record time. I'm really excited to have it available for you guys today. We want you guys to go out, give it a try, give us your feedback. As always, we're continuing to improve our products with every release. So please tell us what you want for the future. We'll listen, and we'll make sure that you guys get it.
Yeah, thanks so much, everybody. We're super excited for you guys to get your hands on it and start playing with it. We're sure you'll have a great time, and you'll see the benefits right away. So thanks so much, everybody, for joining Dan and I. Have a great rest of your week, and thanks so much.
All right. Happy shooting, everybody. See ya.